Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the Chicago Teachers Union's House of Delegates voted to approve a tentative agreement with the Chicago Public Schools. We believe this is an agreement which will produce real, lasting benefits in our schools. It's a contract that we can believe in. It has meaningful improvements in class size and in staffing and a number of other features which we believe will help transform public schools in Chicago. There's one issue, however, that's an important issue. Our union does not have a return to work agreement. Our delegates told us in no uncertain terms we were not going back to work unless there is a provision made for making up the instructional days that have been lost over the last 10 days. Our members want to return to work. Everyone was clear about that. However, the mayor of the city of Chicago has said that we will not be able to make up lost instructional days. As teachers in the city who educate students, we have a number of requirements. We teach a curriculum that is mandated by the state. We deliver instruction to students who take third grade benchmarks. We give instruction to students who take important tests. We need instructional time with those students. This has been an argument the city has made. This has been an argument that we've seen in the Sun-Times and other newspapers. They said can't lose instructional time. And we do not understand why the mayor cannot simply call and say, we'll give you an agreement to make up the instructional time. If the mayor calls, and I take that call and she says that we have an agreement on that, we'll be back at work tomorrow. If she does not call, then we're continuing to be on strike tomorrow. That's right. We're asking members of this union to meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. at City Hall. We'll take the case directly to the mayor. We'll ask her personally. Please agree to restore instructional time so that this strike can end and that we can go back to work. That's right. We miss our students. We want school to continue. I'd like now to have a couple of people come and talk about sort of a broader context. And we're going to start with Randy Weingarten, who's the president of the American Federation of Teachers, a 1.8 million member union, international. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Stacy. So I have been through many contract struggles and many legislative struggles on a national level, on a state level, and on a local level. The educators in Chicago, starting with Local 73 of SEIU, who are the assistants to special needs kids, to the paraprofessionals, to the teachers, the social workers, and the other educators in Chicago, they do God's work. They, every single day, find ways to ensure that kids have the support they need for their futures. This strike, like the strike in West Virginia, in Oklahoma, in Arizona, in Los Angeles, these are all strikes about ensuring that we have the support and the resources we need, not only to live in the places that we teach, but to have those resources that our kids need to thrive. I've been on many lines in the last few days. What you hear from teachers and from paras is we need the class sizes, we need the nurses, we need the guidance counselors. We need to be able to make instruction real and vital. And frankly, what we also need is the kind of time, like the prep time, that they have in countries that outcompete us. We actually teach in the United States of America an hour more a day than the countries that outcompete us. The mayor has said that instructional time was really important. We agree. And every one of our members expressed today that we need to actually see our kids and have the make-up instructional time to deal with our kids who are going to college, to deal with our kids in elementary schools. And so what I don't understand, and look, I'm a New Yorker. Maybe that's why I don't understand it. But what I don't understand is for a mayor who believes that this instructional time is so important, so important to keep on a day-to-day basis. The teachers want to make up the instructional time. The kids have asked for it. The parents have asked for it. So that's why today, even though everything about this TA is not perfect, We know there needs to be more for the kids of Chicago and the educators of Chicago. But the CTU got together and said, we want to close this chapter and make sure that we get back to school together. So I'm asking the mayor, in good faith, let's close this chapter together and let's get back to school and get back the instructional time to help all our kids in Chicago. Thank you.
Yes. Yep. Right as you were making your opening statement there, CPS canceled class officially for tomorrow. Does your offer to go back to class
Bring Dan up.
Bring Dan up.
He doesn't run your press conference.
I'll take questions as soon as we've got a couple more people, and I want to have Dan Montgomery, who's the president of the IFT, and I will take questions.
Good evening, Dan Montgomery, President of the Illinois Federation of Teachers. I want to say that teachers and paraprofessionals all over the state of Illinois not only stand with Chicago, but we're proud. This is a historic moment here. The members of this union have worked very hard and under very difficult circumstances to achieve gains for the city, for the children of this city. And when you look at the contract that they've just tentatively approved pending this resolution on makeup days, it is historic. And that's why you've seen everywhere, as Randy said, when we're on the line, you see parents and community members with the teachers and paras. They want this for the city. I also want to say, you know, if you go back in the state of Illinois 20 years or so, there were often not makeup days done. Boards of education wanted to punish strikers. But the times have changed. Our communities have rejected that philosophy and embraced exactly what Jesse said. Parents want their children in school. Parents want their kids to be able to do well on AP exams, to make the next grade's promotion, to do well on NAEP and other assessments, and to get what they need to succeed in this really competitive world we're in. That's what parents want. And that's why in the last 20 years you've seen virtually every single day of a strike in any Illinois school district made up with the agreement of the school board. And we would implore the mayor to do the same here and to do it quickly. Thank you.
You want me to start taking questions?
Yeah, I'll start. I just want to make one thing clear. No one's asking to work for free or being paid to strike. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that, like, we want to teach our students. Right now we feel like this is punitive on the mayor's part. That she's basically like, she backed herself into a corner by saying she wouldn't do it. She's hoping that would intimidate us from standing up for what we stood up for. Over the last 2 weeks, we have achieved gains in our schools that will be meaningful gains for all of our students, that will make our schools better for a generation to come. You know, we're not going to fall asleep tonight in Portage Park, you know, and wake up in Lake Forest. That's not the way that's going to work. Like, we know there's still going to be difficulties in Chicago public schools. But the commitment for nurses in our schools, you know, a nurse in our school every day by the end of this contract, a commitment for enforceable class size provisions, commitments for social workers, commitments for resources to help coordinate with homeless students, and I could go on and on. We feel like important things were accomplished during the last 10 days. Things that would never have been accomplished if we hadn't walked the picket lines. Would not have been accomplished. Things that had not been accomplished after decades and decades of us going with our hat in our hands and begging. It was only when we raised our collective voices that we got those things in an agreement.
Yes, absolutely.
And now we feel like we're just being punished because we had the audacity to defy the mayor. And that's not right. Because ultimately, if this is a mayor that could have been negotiating with us when she first came to office in May or in June or in July or in August. She didn't have to wait till September to negotiate class size with us. She didn't have to wait till there was a strike to put nurses and social workers in schools. She didn't have to do any of that. But that's what she did. To settle the strike, we have now an agreement. And now her last card is to try to punish us for what we did. And our members are very clear. We have a tentative agreement. We're happy about it. I'm happy to say to the mayor, you did the right thing. You met your campaign promises. Not perfect. Don't want to oversell that. Our members, by the way, still have to ratify this thing. If we ever get back to work, we'll take a ratification, have a new contract. But we're not walking away from 2 weeks of school.
That's right.
And so with that, I'll take some questions.
Would you be willing to,
want me to
say,
do it?
lose some of the Christmas or the holiday break or spring break? Is it always tacked on at the end?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I mean, I think we'd have to look at the way to do it. But this requires a willingness to bargain with us over it and to get into the details of it. And I stand here ready and willing to do that.
The City Hall seems sort of surprised about this, that it didn't come up in your discussions yesterday when they said, okay, what's holding this up? And now they seem a little like, why didn't we hear about this before?
Yeah, I mean, this has always been a thing. Like, I mean, there's.
It's labor law.
Yeah, it's labor law. Strikes end with a return to work agreement. And, I mean, if the mayor is going to hire a labor negotiator who's negotiated 500 contracts and has been doing it since 1987, you'd think she would have taken his advice and asked him about it. But I think instead what happened is, this is a mayor who has felt personally affronted and challenged by the fact that teachers have been on picket lines. It was never personal. It was never the case that look, nurse, you can go back in 2012 and look at the picket signs that we made in 2012. And it talked about we want a counselor, we want clinicians, we want social workers at every school.
That's right.
We walked with those signs. We made yard signs. In fact, I saw one the other day. Someone still had one from 12. I'd never heard of Lori Lightfoot when we did that. This is not about her. This is about what we need to do for our students.
Period.
Are you willing to make up that time if it was unpaid, if the mayor offered that?
We don't work
unpaid. We don't do unpaid work. No, and if the mayor came and said, let's make an arrangement to try to figure out how to work it in. 10 days is a lot of days to make up. I don't think our members necessarily want to be working all through Christmas break any more than students want to be coming in on Christmas break to do that. So, but I'll take her call. I just, right now, the immediate announcement we got was that school was canceled.
Can you give us a sense of the debate tonight? Because the vote was not unanimous.
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, come on, Stacey.
Thanks, Marianne, because I saw your tweets when I was inside. First off, no, it's fine. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Chicago for your extraordinary patience, your extraordinary trust in your teachers, your school clerks, your teachers' assistants, your school nurses, your social workers and clinicians. I want to say thank you to parents for believing us, for trusting us. That means a lot. I want to again apologize to all of the athletes here in Chicago the student athletes in Chicago who had to endure this strike. It was not fair to you, and you're never going to get that moment back. And we are sincerely sorry about those missed opportunities. I appreciate the love, the support, and the respect that we received from a multitude of people, from the citizens who left coffee cards, at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, to those who dropped off sandwiches and cookies and donuts, to those who blew horns at us when it was raining outside, to those who came by and walked with us. All of you deserve a great big thank you from everyone, and we thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on, Marianne.
The question was, there was debate. The vote was not unanimous.
So let me tell you, two things about what you all are learning. Number one, y'all know way more about the Constitution of our House of Delegates than we do the U.S. Constitution. That's a fact. Number two, but not history teachers. Number two, teachers are some of your most well-read individuals, period. They do not mind speaking their mind. If you can get 25,000 teachers out on the streets, we didn't get them there because they follow blindly. Right. We don't get them there because they just trust people. These are individuals who ask questions, who interrogate information, who have an analysis, and figure out how to make a vote. We do not expect consensus in our house. I need to say that again. We do not expect consensus in our house. What happened here tonight was absolutely expected. It is raucous in this house. We cultivate that in our house. It is important that we get in a space where people are comfortable enough to disagree, to agree, to figure it out, to make amendments, and then to take a vote. That's what we do. And that's not a new thing here. It could be about a resolution to shut down network offices, and it's going to get the same amount of debate as this gets. That is just the nature of what we do here.
Can I ask about class size? Were you surprised that people weren't as happy about the class size provisions as they seem like a big gain, $35 million, and yet there seemed like a lot of discord around that?
We've been on strike for 10 days. And you don't go from 100 to 0 in a moment, and you don't go from 0 to 100 in a moment. Our members are tired. They've been sleep deprived. We're anxious. And so the details are not as clear right now. Yes, it is a tremendous gain. Look, we've never had class size enforcement in a contract ever in the history of a collective bargaining agreement with the Chicago Teachers Union. That's right. Never. Right? Never. We've never done this before. And to have that in the contract is a substantial gain for the entire school district. So look, this is not the ratification process. This is a TA process. Yes. We're going to be going school to school, region to region, having these raucous debates again and taking in questions. But it is a substantial win. Look, all of these people standing here, they negotiated this contract. Mm-hmm. They negotiated. I keep telling you, we don't do anything as union bosses. We do it as rank and file leaders.
You addressed the workers who supported the teachers, and there was immense support in the working class in Chicago for the teacher strike. Why didn't the CTU call for a general strike to shut the city down?
I don't know. We still got time, don't we?
A little bit ago, Jesse had said teachers don't work for free. What about the adequate prep time issue? Did that get resolved in this?
It did not. Well, the mayor told us that we could strike for a year, and she still wasn't going to give us prep time.
What's her rationale?
You would have to ask her that. We understand the instructional time that they claim that they're trying to protect. That instructional time consists of 15 minutes of breakfast in classrooms. That instructional time that they say is an instructional time also consists of recess. So the added instructional time from Rom's longer day is two things. It is breakfast in the classroom. That's number one, and it is recess. Lunch and recess. That is the instructional time that they are desperately trying to protect.
I heard, I talked to a couple elementary school teachers, and they told me that in some cases they're being let in the building at the exact same time as the students.
That's exactly what happens.
That's what we do.
I mean, we've been unpacking this for a while now, y'all. That's the issue there, and we're still being told no. Look, it doesn't make sense to us, as it doesn't make sense to you, and here we are. So when people say teachers haven't compromised, or that we want everything and we've given nothing, not true.
No.
Not true.
Not at all.
Not true.
Is there anything more specific you can tell us about what class size enforcement means in this tentative agreement?
Let me tell you one component of it. Number one, class size is going to encompass the entire city of Chicago. That's one thing. That it has an enforcement mechanism that comes with resources to enforce it. But perhaps one of the most important things, I'm a teacher. I'm a high school history teacher. And I've taught in communities, Inglewood, Humboldt Park, and North Lawndale. And in those neighborhoods, we have less resources than we should have. And with this particular contract, all of those schools will get moved to the front of the line. So class size is going to come down. They're going to get nurses, and they're going to get social workers, because we're going to make priorities. We're going to move priorities there. And that's a good thing. We know that there are educators leaving those teaching environments 6-1 because it's so difficult without the resources that they need to complete the job. So in this contract, we want to respect that, and we want to get stability in those places. We want the students to have what they need, and the workers who are doing the work with them to have what they need as well.
Any ratios or specific numbers in it?
Yeah, it is. But I'm not about to unpack that. I'll come sit with you afterwards. Or you should have been in there with the teachers, because I was doing the same thing with them. Yeah, but I will. Seriously, I'll come.
Is there a time frame on that when we're going to see those changes?
It's a phase-in. So this is what I've been saying from the very beginning, is that we weren't asking for it to drop out of the sky tomorrow. We're asking for a phase-in over the life of the contract. We didn't want a 5-year contract. We still don't want a 5-year contract. We still don't want to have schools without prep time. No. Right? We don't want either one of those things. And both of those things are a reality right now. One of the things that I do want to draw your attention to is that the governor, the Senate president, and the Speaker of the House have committed to restoring our full collective bargaining rights. Yes. And giving all of Chicago a seat at the table when it comes to school policy. One of the things that you can't help but read on Twitter and Facebook are all of the parents who are powerless in schools, right? And they want a seat at the table, and we want them to have a seat at the table. It is our hope that having those who are most intimately impacted by school policy will also be the ones making better decisions about school policy. Look, mayoral control since 1995 has not served the Chicago public schools well. This is significant because it signals a change in how things are done in Chicago. We are proud of that too. We appreciate y'all camping out. We appreciate everything that you've done thus far. Everyone, this has really been something. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria.
Two more questions.
Maria needs to do Spanish.
Maria's got to do Spanish.
Maria.
And then we can take it. Yeah. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. La Cámara de Delegados del Sindicato de Chicago de Maestros votó hoy a suspender la huelga y recomienda a nuestros miembros que acepten el acuerdo tentativo sujeto a la restauración de los días de instrucción perdidos durante la huelga. Queremos decir que hemos negociado un acuerdo que tiene disposiciones sin precedentes para reducir el tamaño de clase y aumentar el número de personal certificado para ayudar a nuestros estudiantes. Pero al mismo tiempo queremos decir que estuvimos negociando por 10 meses y cuando la alcaldesa entró a su posición en julio, por 3 meses demoró el proceso de negociación hasta que llegamos a huelga. Y ella misma admitió hoy que por esa razón de demorar tiempo, tuvimos nosotros que hacer las cosas rápidamente durante huelga. Ahora ella quiere castigar a los estudiantes por quitarle tiempo de instrucción, castigar a los educadores en las aulas, en las escuelas y decirlo, por razón de ir de huelga, no voy a dar para atrás el tiempo de instrucción. Esto es injusto. Nosotros luchamos para mejorar y transformar las escuelas públicas. Hemos llegado a un buen acuerdo y queremos que la alcaldesa ya no esté peleando con nosotros, que se une con nosotros para mover adelante, para mejorar nuestras escuelas. Al mismo tiempo, quiero decirle a los padres, a los educadores, a los estudiantes, a las comunidades, gracias por su apoyo, gracias en confiar en nosotros, en la lucha que llevamos. Estábamos peleando por ustedes, los estudiantes, y sí llegamos a un buen acuerdo. Van a haber mejoramiento en las escuelas. ¿Preguntas? No, gracias. Thank you.
I just have one more thing.
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
My phone hasn't rung yet. So as of right now, CPS has canceled school for tomorrow. But we want to go back to work. What we're going to do tomorrow is we're asking all of our members from every school in the city, and you want to know what, if you support teachers and you've got a little bit of free time tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., come to City Hall. We want to bring the voices of everyone who's been involved in this fight over the last 2 weeks to City Hall to demand that the mayor of the city restore instructional time for our students. We won many things in this battle. We now need to close the final chapter, which is to get an agreement to return to work. So, sisters and brothers of the City of Chicago, union siblings, supporters, come out to the City Hall tomorrow at 10 a.m. We'd love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you.